All right, welcome everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a vote that was just held in the Senate on a $78 billion package, which would include $1,800 retroactive payments to last year, $1,900 payments this year, and $2,000 payments next year, as well as adjusted to inflation for every year thereafter, and the child tax credit. I have all the details for you here in the video, as they have finally voted on this thing. This legislation has been sitting in the Senate for over 6 months now, and we finally got a vote on it. So I want to bring you the details here in the video. Let's get into it and discuss what's going on. First off, thanks so much for liking and sharing this video with those buttons down below. I really appreciate it. Also, do you know someone that may benefit from this video or any of the other videos here on the channel? If so, will you please make sure to share this video with them? Again, with the share button down below. Thank you. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And let's talk about it. All right, so let me talk about the details of this, as they finally voted on this thing. This is unbelievable. In fact, I've had people asking me about this over the last several months here. Hey, what happened to that thing? Did they vote on it? What happened to it? Well, they finally brought it to the vote, or finally brought it to the Senate for a vote. So let me explain the situation about this. So way back in January, in fact, early January of this year, 2024, they brought up this piece of legislation just out of nowhere. Nobody expected this, and all of a sudden they introduced it. Like 2 days later after introducing it, they voted on it in the House of Representatives. It passed 357 over 70, which is very, very well, right? Typically, no legislation passes that well in the House of Representatives, but it did. And then it went on to the Senate. And then we heard nothing at all. It just disappeared until now. They finally voted on it. So 6 full months later, actually even more than 6 months later, they voted on this thing in the Senate. Finally, okay? But here's the thing. There's maybe a little bit of a strategy behind this, because considering where we are in the year, obviously early August right now as we speak, the situation being is that we're getting pretty close to November. So this is a strategic move by holding this vote right here, because it puts all the lawmakers in the Senate on record of where do they sit with this thing, okay? But anyway, this is the $78 billion package that we saw earlier this year. And again, I know they finally voted on this thing, but so what this does is it expands the child tax credit, and it also has some different tax savings in there for businesses, small businesses, things like this, okay? Now, I'm not going to talk about that necessarily, because I don't think that really pertains to many people here in the community, if anybody at all, but it does pertain to the child tax credit payments. Remember, they wanted to adjust these. Now, what they wanted to do was change the refundable portion of the child tax credit payment. In other words, basically the amount that could be refunded back to somebody, even if they have an income of $0. So last year, 2023, it was $1,600. However, they would have it retroactive back to last year of 2023 in the amount of $800, okay? Now, this year, 2024, it would be $1,900, again, the refundable portion. And then next year, it'd be $2,000 in 2025. And then every year thereafter, it would be adjusted to account for inflation as well. So it'd be seeing the refundable portion of the child tax credit payments adjusted to inflation and, adjusted higher every single year. This would be great. Now, the IRS has also made statements saying that they could have checks in the pockets, in the bank accounts of people within about 6 weeks. So they could basically go forward and no amendments, no adjustments to tax returns, nothing like that. The IRS has already made it very clear. They've got it covered. They already have all this information. They could cut checks and they can make deposits within 6 weeks of people, basically, of this legislation passing. So do you think that's a little bit appealing to a lot of people? To see checks being cut by the IRS within 6 weeks, that would be amazing for a lot of people. And honestly, I don't know how much that would generate for every single person. Obviously, it's going to be different for everybody, but for the most part, it'd be hundreds of dollars, right? That could be a lot of money, possibly thousands, $1,000+ for some people. In some instances, what the IRS could be cutting in a matter of just weeks. That'd be amazing for a lot of people. However, the vote was held, and it was a procedural vote, okay? So here's how the lawmakers work, okay? They do all these practice votes, okay? It's not really a practice vote. It's a procedural vote. Basically, it's a vote of the vote, okay? It's a ridiculous way that they do this, but it's just how they do things, okay? So this vote that they held was a procedural vote. In other words, they're kind of testing the water. Hey, we're going to do a procedural vote to see if we should vote on the vote. Does that kind of make sense? That's literally what they're doing here. Well, guess what? The vote came in, and it did not garner the 60 votes that it needed. It got 48 of the 60 votes that it needed to continue on to the next series of voting, okay? So as of right now, it didn't pass, okay? However, I said this earlier in the year, and I'm sticking with it, and I'm going to say it again really quickly. Even though it has taken this long to go from the House of Representatives onto the Senate and for them to vote on this thing, it's basically 7 months ago, well, okay, fine, about between 6 and 7 months ago, to be fair, is when they voted on this thing in the House, okay? I do believe they still will pass this thing. In fact, Chuck Schumer, the Democrat who is in control in the Senate, has indicated they're going to bring this thing back in September. So, we got to wait another month. Oh, gee. Huge surprise. We'll have to wait again, right? But he has already indicated they'll be bringing this back, and they're going to be trying this again in September. Now, we'll have to see what happens here. It's a little bit dicey when we get to this close to an election. The reason being is that some people don't want to give the other side a win. Totally strategic, right? Again, I'm not here to take sides politically. I never am. I'm here to give it to you straight, and I'm here to give you the information. But considering September is only like, depending on when in September, mid-September, that's only like a month and a half out from the election, right? So do we... it's going to be tough at that point. I'm just going to say that much. It's going to be a tough sell at that point. However, I do believe that they will pass this. Whether it happens in September, whether it happens after the election, November, December, early next year, I don't know. But there are lawmakers saying, let's not vote on it now. We can get a better deal cut early next year or after the election. So it's really up in the air right now. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, except for they will continue trying this thing. The House of Representatives has made it very, very clear they've got full support behind this thing, or, the majority of the support. 357 of the lawmakers in the House of Representatives voted for this. Only 70 voted against. That's incredible, right? I mean, that's like almost unheard of with that much support for a piece of legislation. I do believe they will still get this done. I do believe there will be some amendments. I do believe there will be some changes. And I do believe there will be retroactive payments for millions of people out there who would be getting these, higher child tax credit payments. I do believe all of this will happen. However, I think we may have to wait a few months, okay? I don't know if they're going to get this thing cut in September. I would be a little bit skeptical of that. I think they will vote on it again, but I don't know if it's actually going to pass in September. Just because it's so close to the election, I don't know about that, right? But after the election, I think it's game on. I think they negotiate this thing. I think they come together on better terms. Whatever those happen to be, I don't know. But here's the thing. The first iteration of anything, whether it's a piece of legislation, a negotiation, whatever it happens to be, the first iteration is usually not the best, right? Coming back and renegotiating and talking through details further is usually a good thing for everybody. So my point is, I still believe, and I'm going to say it again, I believe 100% that they will get this done. I don't know when it's going to be, but we've already been sitting here for 6 months waiting. What's another 4, right? I mean, seriously, at that point. But here's the thing as well. As soon as they do pass this, the IRS has made it very clear. They'll start cutting checks within weeks. And this will be going into millions and millions of bank accounts, and a lot of people will be getting this, okay? And this is in regards to the child tax credit. I want to make that very clear. This is not a stimulus check, okay? I guarantee you, I'll see down below in the comment section, hey, it's a stimulus, right? No, it's not. I'm saying that very clear right now. It is not a stimulus check, okay? It is the child tax credit payments. And this is the expanded version that they voted on 6 months ago, way back in January of this year. And that's where we're sitting right now, okay? Finally, we got to vote on this thing. I'm surprised. Honestly, I'm shocked that they actually voted on this thing. It just seemed like it disappeared. The House pushed it over to the Senate. The Senate sat on it for all this time and then just randomly brought it up and voted on it, okay? I'll keep you posted on this. I know I've had some questions coming in on this. I had an update on this like a month ago because I had people asking me about it. And here you go. Finally a vote. Just came out of left field, out of nowhere. A vote just randomly, right? So anyway, I hope this helps you again. I will keep you posted on this. I do believe it's going to pass. I think it's just going to take some time here, okay? And I think they could probably negotiate a little bit better terms on this as well. I'm just saying, okay? I think it's going to be good no matter how they do it, but I think it actually gets a little bit better if they wait a little bit longer, right? It's like, what do they say? What's the saying on that? It's like a good steak. The longer it sits, the better it gets or something. I don't know. I don't really eat steak, so I don't really know. I'm not an anti-steak person. Trust me, I'm not. I don't really eat red meat. But there you go, okay? That's all I have for you right now. So please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends on social media. Again, anybody you think may benefit from this information. Check out the other videos here on the channel, the thousands in the video library, the ones I've hand-selected for you down below in the description at the top of the comment section. And right now, popping up on your screen, you'll see some videos there as well. Thanks again. Really appreciate you. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you again later.